Good morning, everybody. Why do the algorithm hate me so much? Oh my god, it is too early for this crap. Yeah, man. Ah,
You're like,
ah.
this is why I'm not traditionally published
This is why.
because, it's only like traditionally published people that are like, hey, you have to get out here and be at the library at like 7:30 in the morning.
All the old people want a copy of your book signed. Oh.
So you gotta go sit at this library and read at like 7:30 in the morning because we hate you.
We hate you so much. All of the hate are belong to us for you. Okay. So, good morning, Sarah.
Yay!
Pleasure to have you here. Ugh. I'm not a morning person, so you'll forgive me. I whipped up this big bowl of black, and there's two different tea bags in here, black and hibiscus.
Not bad.
And then I filled it with honey,
And,
and it is quite good, but it's a little hot still.
made a zinger.
Oh yes, yeah. It is quite zingy.
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
so when last we left off, our intrepid heroes were just finishing their hunt, dragging their catch into town. The town guard had just confronted them, claiming that it's 1 hour here, so it's not too early. Oh, lucky. 1 hour. Are you in the UK, Sarah? Is that why that could 1 hour before noon? Or are you on the East Coast? Because you guys are ahead of us. So yeah. Either way, it doesn't matter. Everything sucks right now.
Yeah, because if it's 11, they're Eastern Standard. So
Right. Okay. Nope. Okay. Yep. Let's see. I need to get more of that tea into my brain once it cools down. Okay. Okay, Jackie.
okay, dear.
I've been over that way once. I don't think did I actually go through Kentucky or did I skirt past it? It doesn't matter. We're here to read a book. All right, everyone.
Like, what is life?
Chapter 7. Chaos. Serenity. I walk forward. How pathetic I must look. Beat to shit. Half naked. Wearing poorly tanned furs. But I am still the alpha of my pack. I can't just let this go without as much as a peep. Who has besmirched the good name of me and my pack? I have a right to know my accuser, do I not? But I know the answer before they tell me. It's Arian. The only guy I've ever met with the audacity, gall, and sheer arrogance to try and pull this crap. They give me all the information I am entitled to and insist I follow again. What about my catch? When the council inevitably finds us innocent, I don't want to have been cheated for my win because you made us leave it here to rot. The festival butchers are on the way to load it onto the wagon. Elder NGO ruled you brought it far enough to count, and due to this unusual circumstance, he is bending rules. Now, for the last time, come with us or be dragged back. My pack tenses up. The situation is fragile. They know I don't like taking orders, with exception to Engiel. I don't respond to authority well, but I don't have much choice here. The guards are trained warriors just like us, with years of street brawls and peacekeeping under their belts. That, plus the armor, weapons, and our injuries, makes resisting look like a pretty damn dumb option. Still, I'm tempted. What does that say about me? I raise my hand and motion for my pack to follow. Get the gurney for Kira, I call back. We brought it just in case. The guards look surprised. I look around. Ah, Kira hid behind the Kara. They didn't know there were 6 of us. They only saw her from a distance, and then she hid. Why is another Pax Beta with you? You can hear the story when I tell Engiel. They look peeved, but don't argue it. Plus, they have the courtesy to save me or my boys from carrying the gurney, which lets Pogs give Class an arm to lean on. Class is still loopy from his blow to the head. I worry he might never be the same. We walk until we come out of the fields, onto a road leading into the north end of town. We pass the butchers on the way. The guards give them quick directions to my kill. I grab the arm of the master butcher as he passes. I want my fur and tusks. I stare into his eyes as I tell him. He doesn't flinch back, but his face is not defiant either. He nods and mumbles something about having it to me ASAP. We continue walking. I feel robbed of my victory. Cheated. That bastard managed to take my victory, even in defeat. No crowd of cheering festival goers greets us. No fanfare of beating drums, sounding horns, and vibrating strings. Instead, as we walk into town, the whole festival has been soured. Word of the accusation has spread, and plenty believe it. We are looked upon as criminals, as less than. I clench my fists and dig my claws deep holes into my palms. Canids don't fight with our fists closed for that very reason. In fact, punching someone is a guaranteed way to draw your own blood, too. So it's come to be a symbol of blood feud. I want to punch Arian's pretty face until he's as ugly as a hog. Which
wouldn't take very long.
Already that ugly on the inside.
Right.
Honey and raspberry. Delicious. I just need a crackling fire behind me.
Yes. A big ass chair.
Big armchair. I have Bo right here to pet if he was actually clean.
Right. Yep.
We all walk into the town square. Only the armed escort keeps the townsfolk from throwing rocks and firewood and random debris. They might still, depending on what happens in the square. One by one, we pass my pack's families. They look concerned, scared, shocked. All the things you might expect your family to feel if you were accused of murder. With one notable exception. None of them look angry. Of my 3 gammas, not one of their family members has anger in their hearts for us. They have faith that the accusation is a lie. My friends are blessed. I see Kira's family. Her father tries to take her, and the guards will not let him. She's a party to our crimes because she was with us. He looks mad when they tell him that. Don't worry, honey. Elder will sort this out. Stay strong, her mother calls to her. Her sister isn't back from the hunt yet. Wonder what's taking Amnes so long. After a long, aggravating walk of many insults and many hateful stares, we arrive in the square. I can see Elder on the large stage. He's talking to the town council and the visiting shaman who whipped the girl. They turn to gaze upon us as we enter the bazaar. The mood in town was already sour. But when we enter the collection of stalls, entertainers, and festival goers, what sounds were there drop away until only murmurs and whispers are heard, along with the occasional shout of murderer, dishonored, mutt, etc., etc. The guards escort us to the base of the stage, where 10 more guards stand post. An elder and 2 of the council come down to meet us. He looks tired, more tired than I ever remember seeing him. I hadn't noticed before because he stood behind the council members, but Arian's father, Argos, patriarch of the Anathema family, also stands on the stage. He looks down on me and my pack now. I expect derision, disdain, hate, anger to be in his eyes. I see none of those. His sharp, angled face is a mask of porcelain. I have not a clue what he is thinking behind those cold, frost-blue eyes. I'm not sure I want to. He wears the white robes and turge of his family. He carries a staff of polished white oak. After a shared moment between us, he turns his head away and continues speaking to the council. I'm left feeling chilled, slightly on edge from the stare. It occurs to me I've never spoken to him or met him before, only seen him in passing. I think that was the first time he's noticed me. Elder approaches us. He looks us over one by one. Kira has been set on the ground. He kneels to examine her. He stands and gestures a guard over. Take Claspin and Kira to my lab. Make sure my assistant sees to their wounds. The guards move to comply. Another guard helps him with Kira, and 3 more break off to escort my friends safely. I've heard of Elder's assistant, Zack, a young shaman with odd mannerisms and enough curiosity for 5 people. Thank you, Elder, I say and bow. He waves a hand casually, dismissing the subject. Young Thorn, you know, I am sure, Arian has accused you of attempting to sabotage his hunt, murdering Rybin in the process. He claims you assailed his pack in the fields as he stalked the carapagne, where you tried to steal his kill, and in the process of defending his pack, he and his 3 gammas were also nearly killed. How do you respond? Is that it, Elder? He also claims Kira was in league with your pack to destroy his and Amnes's hunt. I stare in the Elder's eyes. I don't break eye contact for a good 10 seconds. I feel something snap in my head, like a fraying line giving way. I crack a stupid grin. I turn my head. Murday is whistling and looking up at the clouds, deliberately nonchalant. Steergild looks pissed. And Pogs, stoic and impassive. I can't help it anymore. I start laughing. First it's a chuckle, And then it climbs and climbs. I tear up and my face feels hot. I put my hands on my knees. I've been in shifted form for 6 days. As I laugh, I begin shifting back. At some point, I fall to the ground, clutching my ribs. Young Thorn, what, pray tell, is so funny about the situation? Elder asks me. I laugh a bit more and start trying to rein myself in. I get to a knee, then stand. The 2 council members behind Engiel are aghast. Engiel, for his part, does not look amused. Wait, you're serious? I say, trying to stifle my chuckling. The shaman behind him drop their jaws in sheer shock. Engiel's mask of irritation cracks at his eyes for a split second. I continue, loud enough so all in earshot can hear. Aryan Anathema is a known liar, cheater, and all-around general dirtbag. I return my gaze squarely to Elder's face now. On the first day of the hunt, I followed Kira into the foxhole area of the avian forest. I spent the better part of day 1 tracking her scent, only to find she had been tracking Aryan. I tracked her because I was planning on scaring away my opponent's game. I was planning on some guerrilla tactics to yeah, to come out on top.
Too early.
It's too early for this shit. Hang on. Not now that the mood has been ruined. Let me start that part over. I tracked her because I was planning on scaring away my opponent's game. I was planning on using some guerrilla tactics to come out on top. And yes, I suspected Aryan of planning to flat out cheat. Amnes told me she suspected the same. I believe that is why Kira was following Aryan. We both know he has a record of cheating. Remember the truffle hunt? Remember the field drills of the 605th year? Aryan has been caught cheating plenty. Hasn't been caught cheating plenty more. All in an attempt to make himself appear the superior alpha. Well, this time he took his cheating too far. Because he thought he could get away with it. I turn my head and stare up, daggers at his father. Interestingly enough, his expression has not changed. Aryan knew of the rules ahead of time. He hid clothes, weapons, rope, and other provisions in the avian forest. Kira attempted to sneak away to inform her alpha, but she fell from the tree she had climbed to spy from, and she nearly died from that fall. That fall put her in the gurney my pack made for her 2 days later. I turn now to face the crowd. I project my voice, like Engiel taught me. Projection and speaking with an air of command inspires confidence, makes people inclined to believe you. I hope it works on pissed off townsfolk as well as it works on my gammas. When she fell, I took Kira and fled to a cave known to her. Aryan tried to bury us alive by collapsing the entrance. The crowd gasps at that. I'm starting to gain some traction with my tale. There, I wandered in the dark, Kira on my back, struggling to hold on as I crawled through the narrows and lows of the cave. I nearly drowned in an underwater current while searching for a way out. What's a little gross exaggeration between a lynch mob and its potential victim? Finally, after a full day of searching, After sleeping in that musty, damp hole, I found the exit. I ran through the woods and killed the pelts me and Kira now wear. With her help, I tanned them, cooked them, made clothes, with naught but my claws and teeth. While Arian brought fur-lined cotton and hunting leathers into the woods to wear. I study faces. The mood is shifting. I met with my pack hours later after Kira limped along in agony. I could have left her to her own devices, but I would not let the Ripjaws have her. I would not let Arian have her. I turn to face Engiel again, but I don't stop projecting. I want the town to hear this. Arian doesn't get a pass. Not this time. Arian tracked us down, and I had to send my beta, Pogsworth Macrophage, to single-handedly be my vanguard. As I struggled to get Amnes's beta to safety, Steergild and I ran as fast as we dared with Kira in the shape she was in, until we could deposit her in the camp my pack had made. At which point, we turned back to retrieve my friend. I crested a hill to see Arian about to murder Pogs in cold blood, his pack standing around him doing nothing. If I had not sounded a challenge and charged when I did, my friend, the last living macrophage of Three Fang, would be dead. I crashed into Arian and sank my teeth into him. He may never use his right arm the same again. Look at my scars. Are they not proof? What pack of Ripjaw hunts alongside wolves? The scars we bear tell the story of that fight. I turn dramatically. I shoot a glance to my friends, and they revert to human shape to show their own wounds. Wolf claws and teeth. Spears in Pog's case, alongside the Ripjaw wounds on my chest and back. It makes a compelling case by itself. Then, once he had lost to a smaller, supposedly weaker force, Arian limped off, shamefully leaving his packmate to rot. The crowd erupts in outrage, leaving a comrade to the scavengers. It's considered a bigger dishonor than almost anything. Many refuse to believe a noble's son, even Arian, would do such a thing. I raise my voice to gain their attention. You may be wondering if Ryben still lies in the sun, dishonored by his pack. Nay, for his enemies showed him the respect his pack failed to. We buried him with proper rites. The crowd's outrage quiets, soothed, replaced with skeptical respect. If you doubt me, go to the shores of Domingo Lake. Following the setting sun, you will arrive at his cairn, near where the shores poke into the lake. My declaration eases doubts. The mood has calmed and stabilized. Elder motions for me to follow him onto the stage, and I go with him. We take front and center. Alpha Dalj Thorn of the Third Pack has detailed reasonable counterclaims to Arian's accusations. He and his pack's claims shall be thoroughly investigated, and this matter shall be resolved with care and haste. Until then, let us continue our festival. Let us honor the dead with stories of their life. The crowd cheers. Elder turns to me and says in a low voice, The guards will escort you to join Claspin and Kira. You will stay in the infirmary in my lab for your safety and to keep the peace. Go. I nod and leave. Probably best not to push my luck after that stunt with the laughing. I just couldn't help it. Sometimes things have to be laughed at. Not because they are funny, but because laughing at them is the only logical response. At least I think so. Good morning, Mr. Blandis. How are you today?
Yay!
Okay, dokie. That is the first time I have ever had someone say I have passive voice. So I'm not sure what to make of that. That's literally the first time I've heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. Anyways. I begin to follow the guards out of the town square until the leading guard stops. What now? I'm so damn tired and sore. Honestly, I was looking forward to the infirmary. The guard steps aside, and Ryben's parents stand there, staring at me with blank faces. He's the spitting image of his dad, with his mom's hair. He stays in place, but she slowly approaches. I don't know what to do. I've never faced the family of someone I killed before. My heart went from walking to sprinting in the blink of an eye. I'm sweating. My breathing wants to speed up, but I force myself to keep it steady, relying on my training to stay calm. I hate this. This is scarier than rushing into the fight was. Why are they confronting me? Did Arian make it clear I specifically killed Ryben? Are they about to declare a blood feud? She stands in front of me now, quietly sobbing. Tears run down her face. She reaches for my hand. I don't know what else to do, so I let her take it. She clutches it between hers like some kind of holy relic or item of faith, clutching it like it's the only thing keeping her together. We stay like that for what seems an eternity. Thank you for burying him. He always worried Arian would get him dishonored, and he would be cast to the void. Now, he has his chance to make his case to the Creator God. She breaks on her last word and crumbles. Her husband comes to kneel behind her, wrapping his arm around her, and she still clutches my hand. Her tears fall onto it, a confusing mix of compassion, guilt, and other emotions I can't quite describe fill me head to toe. I'm sorry, ma'am, but we have orders to escort them, a guard says. But there is no command in his voice, and he does not move to make them comply. Ryben's father clutches her tightly, and they stand. I wonder how much of her weight, if any, she's supporting. He looks me in the eyes. His jaw is clenched, and tears break through his stoic facade. He nods so slightly one might mistake it for something else. I bow my head, in shame, indifference, in respect. Then he slowly coerced his wife to release me and go home. We start walking again, and my hands shake. I raise them to look at them. I touch my mouth with my tear-covered right hand. I remember the taste of his blood, and I almost throw up. Ever faithful, Pogs notices and places a steadying hand on my shoulder. Up ahead, the crowd starts to thin as we leave the square and approach a large building that acts as the town hall and the elders' residence. Right before the guards usher us into the double doors, out of nowhere, something light and small with rust-red hair and smelling of fertile dirt and sweat collides into my uninjured side and wraps its arms around me. "I'm so sorry about what I said to you. Please forgive me," she says loudly. Although she's almost shouting, there's sweetness to her voice, a quality of innocence and frailty. Fun fact about that line: I almost changed what is said there. Because when I was writing this, I like I told people before, I send these chapters to my dad as I wrote them, and he said that made no sense. But then I was like, well, yeah, it's not really supposed to make sense. It's a distraction, Dad. So it was changed in the Word document for a little while, and I decided to change it back. Anyways, "I'm so sorry about what I said to you. Please forgive me," she says loudly. Although she's almost shouting, there's a sweetness to her voice, a quality of innocence and frailty. She backs away, also taking my hand and clasping it in hers as she bows over it. Then she darts off into the crowd. The guards never saw her coming, and the whole thing was so sudden and bizarre. They don't know how to react either. I stand there dumbfounded. Pogs inches up behind me. "Wasn't that the girl we saw getting whipped?" I nod and clench my hands tight. "No idea why she would say that, though," I say as I turn to walk into the building. Inside the town hall, it's not as ornate as some may expect, but it's hardwood everywhere, all flawlessly polished. The furnishings are much the same. Woven and fur rugs sit under tables and bookshelves and cupboards. Overall, it has a very warm, strong feel to it, much like the soul of us Canids. I like it. It feels like home. The guards guide us to a door, motion us through, and take up guard positions in the hallway that led us here. When we descend, Engio's lab is in the basement, accessed by a dim but spacious stairwell, lit by windows at ground level that let in just enough light to work by if you have good vision. For those who don't, candles abound. There's a fireplace in the center of the lab, used not only for heating the cool basement, but also cooking, and elders work here. Pots and pans occupy a shelf just above, various glassware, and what looks like surgical implements. The room is a healthy 40 by 40 box with a 10-foot ceiling. Tables and bookshelves line walls, all except the north wall, which is lined by 10 beds. Kira and Class occupy the 2 beds in the northwest corner of the room. They both appear to be sound asleep. I approach and stand over them. They are both in human form, under covers. They smell like lavender and lilac. Someone bathed them. "You were wise to keep her from shifting back." I nearly jump out of my skin, along with my 3 friends. We as one turn around to see a short, tiny person with puffy brown hair and freckles. The newcomer stares at us as if we are acting silly. My breath is sped up and I let it. I don't have the energy to fight my bodily impulses anymore. I bend over and put my hands on my knees. Jeez, you startled us. Where the void did you come from? I ask, looking up into brown eyes. I have been here since you entered through the southern stairwell. It is not my fault I went unnoticed. The kid is small and doesn't really have any scent, I notice, and stands eerily still. I guess I can buy that if they were off to one side as I didn't notice them. But all four of us missing the kid? Either we're more beat than I thought, or the kid is fibbing. I look the person up and down, taking in their soft features. A long white coat and apron hide the figure. Say, are you male or... I trail off. They raise their left eyebrow and cock their head to the right. My name is the Doc Squeebs Yolover. I'm 15. I am male. I am a shaman apprentice studying under Engiel. What a strange question. He walks between us to stand at Kira's side. He interlocks his fingers behind his back and bends at the waist, placing an ear near her mouth. He stands like that for a second, then does the same for class. Breathing is good. Sedation? Adequate? I hear him mumble to himself. He rises, apparently satisfied. I will need you all to strip out of your furs so I can clean and properly dress your wounds. It won't do to let them fester for lack of basic hygiene. My friends and I exchange glances, but do as he says. If you wish to keep your furs, place them in the large basket near the door, and they will be cleaned. If not, throw them in the fire. All of us walk our furs to the basket. What can we say? We're a sentimental bunch. We file over to the beds and are about to sit. Stop! The doc calls. I freeze mid-sit. Do not soil clean sheets with your filth. Wait until you are clean. I stand back up slowly. We're all sort of stand around and wait. The doc calls us over to a work table near the hearth. One by one, he tries to clean us. None of us let him. We give ourselves the rag baths he must have given Class and Kira. Once the dirt and grime are off, he insists on seeing to the cleaning of the wounds. He won't take no for an answer. He applies some tincture that feels warm to the touch and stings a little. It smells sharp. Stings the nose with a hint of fermented fruit. He takes his time, meticulous in removing debris, dirt, rocks, splinters. Steer had a tooth lodged in his thigh. How do you not notice that? One by one, he finishes cleaning and dressing our wounds. Pogs and I go last because we need the most work. It takes him an hour for each of us. Lots of stitches. He offered us anesthetic. We both declined. I can't speak for Pogs, but I don't really want to be impaired under this guy's care. The day drags on as he runs us through some basic examinations. He says it's to make sure we didn't sustain brain or nerve damage. He has us say the words, "I feel fine," 3 times quickly, but clearly pronounced. When Murday deliberately slurs like a drunken mule, Zadok keeps a straight face, but steps on his toes. Fun little fact about the... Oh, what's up, Mr. What's up, Seaborn? Fun little fact about the "I feel fine" thing. That's something I picked up in dive school. That's an actual bona fide neural examination because F is hard to pronounce. So if you can't pronounce "I feel fine" 3 times fast, it's a sign that you've been neurologically compromised. One of the ways you check for arterial gas embolisms in the brain.
That's the same thing that they told us to do at the old folks' home for people having strokes.
Yep. Yep, it's good for, you can use it to check for serious concussion too. Anyways, the more you know.
Yeah.
Zadok keeps a straight face but steps on his toes. Zadok moves on and checks our eyes, our sense of touch. Almost a dozen tests before he's satisfied we're all going to make it. A pair of human slaves enters the lab, carrying large trays of food. They take the basket by the door when they leave. Our food is simple, but tasty and hearty. Merde reaches for his mug of wine, and I snag it before he has it, chug it, and then set the empty mug down hard on top of his head. Those who can't follow orders lose privileges. He swats the mug away and rubs the sore top of his head. Was hoping you would forget. Nope. And the mint wasn't fooling anyone. The meat is carapane. I'm glad we got at least one serving of it, Steer comments. We all murmur agreement past stuffed faces. We sit on our cots, talking to pass the time. Class and Kira remain sound asleep. We are wearing only light shorts the dog provided from a cupboard. The fire takes the edge off, but it's still a touch nippy down here. Zadok left a while ago to attend to other business. Don't disturb them. They need to rest. Kira absolutely cannot move, he told us before he left. He had to make incisions in line with her ribs and manually manipulate them as she changed to protect her liver. She likely would have died if she shifted back without the help. Now her ribs are in the proper position to heal. Time drags on, and when the sun is low, my friends start going to sleep one by one, until only I am left awake. I wait a while to make sure they are asleep. Then I lift the corner of my mattress and unfold the slip of paper the human girl placed in my hand. Her name was Angel, if I remember right. If it really was the same girl. Dalj, I need help. I think you can help me. If you're willing to hear me out, mention Blula when next we meet. That's it? Well, just tell me your life story, why don't you? Although, to be fair, it is a small piece of parchment. What could she possibly need my help with? I get anxious and paranoid when I don't know things I want to. This makes my muscles tense and thoughts race. Nothing for it but to mention Blula if I see her again. But why the goddess of love and tranquility specifically? Something to ask her if I get the chance. I walk over to the coals in the fireplace and throw the slip of paper in, contemplating as I watch the flames lick it into flimsy ash, and then oblivion. I must have gotten lost in the embers, because the next thing I know, Ngio walks into the room from the staircase and beckons me over. I bow, and he grabs my shoulder to pull me up. No need for that here, Dalj. We're alone. Right. Habit is all. He answers. He hands me my leather shirt and breeches, the ones I left at the starting line. I slip them on and toss the thin white shorts Zadok lent me into the basket the slaves left when they took the other. Ngio motions for me to follow. Then we walk upstairs, down a hallway, and into a door, which I close behind me as I enter. The room is a study. Ngio's, I realize as I look around. Bookshelves abound, lined with tomes covering various subjects, ranging from advanced math to anatomy. They appear to be sorted by subject and nothing else. In the corner of the room, opposite the door, is his desk. It's full but organized. ink and quill, scrolls, stacked books, a decanter of mead, and 2 mugs. Come, sit. He motions to a comfy chair near a window and sits in the chair opposite and facing it. But not before he grabs the mead and mugs. He fills them both and hands me one, setting the decanter on a table between us directly in front of the window. He does not speak, and I know not what to say. We share silence for a while. I finish my mead, and he's only about half done. He refills me and tops himself off before breaking the silence. You should not have laughed like that. It was open disrespect of me and the council, he says and drinks, never taking his eyes off me. I measure my response. I am sorry for the disrespect. But, he asks. Damn it. He knows me too well. I was not going to add a but. But you want to, and I want to hear it. Cornered. Damn. May I speak bluntly, Elder? He nods. I take a hearty swig of delicious twice-fermented bee vomit. Engiel, you knew for years Arian was, well, what he was. You keep close track of what goes on in town. You personally ask guards for verbal reports regularly. There's no way you didn't know. No way you didn't have some idea of what he was doing. Yet still you let him. You allowed it to go on. And then, on top of that, you escort me and my pack, the rightful victors of the biggest festival game in canine or feline culture, back into town at the point of a spear to accuse me of bullshit you know is bullshit? I couldn't help it, Engiel. I laughed. Because if I hadn't laughed, I would have been furious. Engiel seems to digest that for a while. My tone got more aggravated as I went. Volume climbed up. I think he waits for me to calm down. So I retreat into the mountains slightly. Just enough to keep myself level. He notices the change in my breathing, takes a sip, and begins. And I'm going to take a sip just before I begin. Suppose, Dalj, I did know. Suppose I have known, as you say, for a long time, what kind of student Arian has been. I think you forget. Or worse, have failed to ever consider the position I find myself in. As the chief executive of this town, I have many variables and conditions to consider when I make any decision. I do not have the luxury of small decisions. When I make a call, it affects many. Sometimes, I decide who lives and who dies. He pauses to let the weight of the statement hit home. I avert my gaze and take a drink. Arian's father, Argos, is one of the most important nobles, not just in our town, but all of canine territory. He has great influence with the ground council in the capital. He owns a great deal of land. His family controls a great number of slaves, which provide a large portion of labor in Three Fang and throughout the canine nation. His other sons, Argon and Argive, currently reside in the capital, functioning as high-level mediaries for canid affairs with the other shifter nations. To put it bluntly, Dalj, Argos is not someone I can afford to piss off. He refills his now empty mug. He offers me more, and I decline. Take another refill, boy. You have earned it. I raise an eyebrow, but don't argue with free booze. I thought you were mad. I thought you were mad at me for, well, the incident at the square. I am irritated about it, yes. But I am also in your debt, and here's why. People like yourself, Dalj, who are low on the totem pole of authority, near the bottom of the proverbial pecking order, often misjudge the power and authority held by those at the top, sometimes grossly overestimating, as you have, sometimes grossly underestimating, as Arian has for some time now. But it's a misjudgment all the same. And this misjudgment leads to all kinds of behavioral and philosophical, shall we say, missteps. I'm off screen again, damn it. Gotta stop doing that. Missteps. You falsely believed I could simply do with Arian as I pleased, because technically I have the authority to. But in truth, I had to strongly consider what Argos might do if I dishonored and shamed his son by expelling him from training. He leans forward slightly and locks gazes with me to make sure I'm paying attention. Therefore, Dalj, I had to wait until such time as Arian did something egregious, something utterly heinous. This way, when I moved against him, his father would have no choice but to capitulate. The festival of the hunt is one of our most sacred traditions. And Arian has an ego problem bigger than the 3 moons. He desperately wants his father's respect and admiration. Of course I knew he would try to cheat to win. I am not a moron, my boy. But I also knew that you would likely catch him, as you have so often done in the past. I think you get some kind of devilish satisfaction out of it. I smirk. An elder smiles. Hence why I chose my plans of action, as I did. And if not you, Amnis would have. She's every bit as bright as you know, and sometimes a bit more wily and wicked. I nod. Kira's a lot like her. Engiel nods. Aye. They were friends long before selection. We sit for a while. Engiel lets me digest what I've learned. I feel simple and childish. All of these facts were out in the open, but I failed to consider them in the context of the situation. I have been a fool. Engiel, why did you ever pick Arian for training in the first place? I've wondered this for a while now. Now might be the only time I could get a straight answer. 2 reasons. First, the same as the rest of you, I saw potential. He demonstrated a skill for combat and leadership very early, even if he did, sadly, use it primarily to gather other children to assail you. Secondly, as you might expect, his father asked me to. His father also knows what he is. He hoped I might be able to straighten Arian out, as I have managed with other troubled youth in the past. I clearly failed. Engiel has answered questions I've wanted to ask for a while, and I might be pushing my luck, but one thing still grates on my nerves. I take a sip, and lock eyes. So where did Rybin fit in? Engio flinches, as if he just saw something brutal. He looks sad when he answers. Rybin was an unexpected consequence. I failed to accurately judge just how corrupt and bold Arian had been made by his years of getting away with his various shenanigans, for lack of a better word. I did not think he would lead his pack against someone who discovered him. I am sorry, Dalj. You misjudged him, Elder. Amnes and I knew what he was. Aye, my boy. Aye. I have watched over you all since selection. In you and Pog's case, longer. I did not want to believe Arian had fallen so far into his wickedness. My mistake cost Rybin everything. I know that better than anyone. Engio polishes off his mead and gets up to get another decanter from a shelf. He opens it, and a strong, smoky smell comes out. Oak barrel whiskey. He pours himself a half mug, and then tops off with mead. He tops me off with whiskey, and my mug was nearly empty. To Rybin, may the Creator take mercy on him for my mistake. He hoists his mug. So do I. We clink and drink heartily. Whew, boy, I say. This stuff has a bite to it. Engio chuckles and sips. I debate telling him about the note. I think better of it. He cuts off my line of thought. Amnes brought in her own carapace, he says. I lean forward, interested. Hers was bigger, he laughs, and I scowl. But, alas, unless the butcher finds weapon marks on yours, you will be declared victor. You were first. That's a relief to hear. Sorry. Was she worried about Kira? Let me back up here. You were first. And that's a relief to hear. Was she worried about Kira? Engio laughs again. Either he's getting drunk, or what he's about to say is really funny. Cocky girl strolled into town thinking she won the whole thing. Never even asked about Kira until I mentioned her. Amnes was sure Kira was still off doing what she had been assigned to do. Do you know what Amnes assigned her to do? Engio gives me a knowing look. Sly look. And drinks. Ah. Well played, Amnes. Well played. Just not well enough. I stand to leave. I'm exhausted, and after a mug full of whiskey, pretty drunk. Hold, Engio calls. His tone suddenly serious. I turn. One last thing, Dalj. Sit down. Because of Rybin's death, the matter escalated further than even I could control. I cannot dictate what happens here. The Grand Council has rules about how deaths in training are handled. A dreamsmith has been dispatched from nearby Foxhole. He is one of their council members. He will be reading the minds of those involved in the incident to glean the unbiased truth, then making a full report on the events leading to Rybin's death. I see. Thanks for the head. He raised a hand to silence me. There is more. Do not be surprised if, Once he attempts to read you, he takes you into custody and brings you before the Grand Council. What in the void for? You have abilities similar in origin to the phages. You recall the incident where you blacked out from anger, and after I taught you the way of the mountain? I nod. Your father passed to you an ability known as chaos. Not many know of it. Your family line and their close friends have kept it on a need-to-know basis. Similarly, your mother passed you an ability called Serenity. I have written a scroll detailing what these abilities have been seen to do and the family line they have been passed through. It is yours when you leave this room. But what you must know now is that you mastered the way of the mountain so fast and so young, not because you have some proclivity towards it as an individual, but because an ability of both the chaos and serenity gene is ignoring or shutting out pain. Okay, I draw the word out, but I still don't get why they would take me. Because, Dalj, another ability bestowed by the chaos gene is immunity to dream smithing, and that makes you very valuable and very dangerous to the Grand Council. Until now, your family has managed to hide that particular ability from all but a trusted few. But I fear now it will become known. Oh. Well, crap. After relieving myself, I managed to stumble back down to the basement. Scroll carefully folded and secured in a pocket I can and have laced shut. My drunken mind tries to think over all that I've learned, but the poison in my veins make it a slow-going process at best. I collapse into my assigned bed. Chaos. Serenity. Sounds like something from a bad play or something. I mumble to myself and drift off to sleep. Chapter 7, The Garden of Lies.
Hey.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks you all for being here. Let's look at some comments. Okay. Oh, it feels like the active high tension scenes are toned down by the passiveness. Yeah, you're gonna have to explain that one a bit to me, Sarah. What you mean? Because I'm not discounting what you're saying. I'm just saying I literally don't understand what you're referring to.
Yeah, because if it's in context of the chapter, he's literally retelling what happened. So.
Well, no, he's not, because it's current tense, Caitlin.
No, I mean when he's having to explain this situation.
Oh yeah. Well, when he's out, when he's in front of the crowd and everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Vlandis is here. Mr. Vlandis, you need to be at the Saturday stream.
Yeah, because
you're here for goals check-in, and you're not.
Exactly.
Shame.
So we don't know how well you did on your goals or not.
Right. You said you had so many words left to write to finish your one. I think you said working on one of the books in the Ivar trilogy. Is that what you said? Or the Ivar series, I should say, because I don't think you said it was a trilogy. Anyways, You need to be at the Saturday stream. Well, we're going to admonish you, sir.
Yes.
Admonish.
At work. At work, just listening.
That's fair. And yeah, good morning, dude. That picture is still so badass, Caitlin.
It's so great. What would be really cool though is if the mouth were open though.
Yes, the skeleton, like the human skeleton's mouth was also screaming. Yes. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I enjoy writing Angeal because he's kind of he's kind of challenging for me to write because he is everything I am not.
It's like
calm, patient, restrained.
he's like Gandalf.
He is kind of like Gandalf, except
it's like I don't know.
Gandalf is much older and much wiser, and much more powerful.
Well, I mean, he's that type. He's that archetype of character.
Yes, the old wise man. Yes, the old wise powerful man.
Yeah, like it's like
pity you didn't kill him. Believe me, NGO feels that way. He's just not the kind to say that out loud.
Yeah, but that was the energy I was getting the whole time I was reading it. I was like, it's gonna be like, look here, boy. You had one job and you fucked up. But I'm not gonna tell you what that job was because, I can't.
And fun fact, when I wrote that chapter and sent that one off to my dad, he was particularly impressed with the way I portrayed Engil. He was happy with the way I was able to, make him such a fleshed out and convincing character. That was one of the pieces of praise that really made me feel good when my dad gave it to me, is how much he was impressed with Engil's dialogue and the whole scene.
Yeah.
It's not the whole thing. The limitations on characters in the chat makes it difficult to elaborate on, but I can send you some in depth. I think in depth. Yeah. I encourage it. I'm always open to hearing what people have to say, and of course, you can also leave it down in the comments. I don't care if it's public, and that's good for the algorithm and stuff. So yeah, if you want, leave it down in the comments, man. I would really appreciate it. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. I appreciate you, Mr. V. So it's an A. It's Dalj, and if his name is actually an abbreviation for something, you'll find out about that later.
It is an acronym.
Yep, it is an acronym.
Yeah.
So we had some people on for the entire thing. I'm not. I'll have to look at what it does in the algorithm after this.
Yeah.
Let's see if it's worth getting up this early again.
Yeah.
I might go back to.
I mean, and Mason wasn't even here.
Mason wasn't even here. That bastard. Really, just for him.
Yeah.
Well, not just for him, but.
Yeah.
But yeah. So again, I thank you all for being here. The book is, of course. I'm just gonna grab my whole stand here. The book is, of course, The Garden of Lies. That's that one. Then there's The Garden of Hope, the sequel. Both of them are available right now for your buying pleasure wherever books can be purchased. I don't expect you to leave me a review right now because you'll want to finish the book. But when this is all said and done, it would really warm my cold iron heart if you left me a review on Goodreads and any other book sites you frequent. I love reading reviews. I actually legitimately love reading reviews. I wish I had more. When I get like a good 50 or 60 reviews on Garden of Lies, I'm gonna make a video going through and talking about all of my reviews. So yeah, help me get there. I absolutely cool. I love reading feedback on my stories. So thank you all for being here so much. I'm just glad anyone wants to pay attention to my stories at all.
Well, they would be stupid if they didn't.
Oh, calm down, Kate. All right, everyone. You all have a blessed day. Be well. Welcome to Garden. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun.